What's up, guys? Hopefully you've all been having a good day. So, I thought it'd be interesting today to do a video talking about the only jolys. Now, why are they the topic of discussion today? You may be wondering. Well, obviously, I think they're the reason that they're the topic of discussion today is they are the topic of discussion for a lot of reasons. Obviously, I'm sure that a lot of you guys are probably aware of the kind of negative attention and backlash that they've been getting recently. I've seen, obviously, I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably aware of all of the TikTok videos that they've been on recently about the Honey Jollies. I've done various videos talking about, the things that Jono's doing and how wrong it is. I think from what I can see, a lot of people are obviously quite angry with the fact that Johnathan is doing the things that he's doing, but I think a lot of people are also very angry with Anna because Anna isn't really doing anything to sort of put a stop. She isn't attempting to put a stop to what he's doing. She's not kind of doing, she's basically allowing it to happen. She doesn't have a problem with what he's doing. I mean, you've got the thumbnail. I mean, the thumbnails are pretty bad enough. You know, I mean, you look at Alessia, it always feels like Alessia is really kind of inappropriately dressed in a lot of the videos that he puts out there, whether that be full videos or YouTube shorts. She doesn't seem to be, it feels like she's not appropriately dressed for the videos. It feels like she's always wearing bra tops and crop tops and things like that show off half her midriff. And it's like, why would you show your child like that on the internet at only 8 years old? I mean, you gotta look at it right. Ed is always pretty appropriately dressed in the videos. Amelia is always pretty appropriately dressed in the videos. Andrea, on the rare occasions that he appears in videos, is always appropriately dressed. The only child who never really seems to be appropriately dressed in any videos is Alessia, the 8-year-old. You know, you also got to think about it, right? You look at all of the thumbnails, it's the three girls that are in the thumbnails: Edie, Amelia, and Alessia. Andrea is never in any of them. And we all know why it's always the three girls in the thumbnails, because they are the ones that will attract and appeal to Johnathan's target audience. And I think we all know what Johnathan's target audience is. We all know who he's trying to attract and appeal to. You don't have to be a fucking expert to recognize that and to be able to actually to realize that. It doesn't take. You don't have to be. You don't have to be a massive expert to see. That what he's doing isn't okay and is not right. I think people know what he's doing is wrong, and they'll keep saying that. They'll keep shouting that from the rooftops that what he's doing isn't okay, and it needs to be stopped. Because at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, it does need to be stopped. It's at the end of the day, it's Anna that should be putting a stop to this. She shouldn't be letting this happen. She shouldn't be. No, it just. I think this is, as I've said. I think this is the weirdest part about it, about the whole thing, is the fact that she doesn't seem bothered or phased. Like, she doesn't seem to have an issue with the things that Johnathan is doing. Obviously, people have been calling them out for this time and time again, and you never see them trying to defend themselves. They always get hauled out for using inappropriate thumbnails, and you never see them trying to defend themselves whenever they get hauled out for this. They unhappily block people who dare to haul them out or criticise them in every single way. That is what they do. That is what all of the family flooders do. If you don't agree with them, they block you. If you haul them out or criticise them in any way, they block you. That is what they do, because none of them can handle that criticism or negative comments. But when you think about all of the things that Johnathan is doing, he deserves every single negative comment, and he deserves every single ounce of criticism he gets from people. I'm not gonna have any sympathy for them, considering all the backlash and negative attention that they're getting at the moment. I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing them getting so much negative attention and backlash. It is what they both deserve. That is the reality of the situation, is that they are getting what is that they are both getting what they deserved for a very long time. They are both getting what they are both getting what they have deserved for a very they are not you know, it's nice to see them being ripped to shreds by people on social media, because it's about time. I think it's good to, and it makes me happy to see that the things Johnathan is doing, are getting so much attention, and people are waking up. People are now starting to wake up and realize that what he's doing isn't okay and acceptable. I'm glad that people are now kind of speaking out about what he's doing and how wrong it is. Because people can see what he's doing. People can see how wrong it is. People know that he shouldn't be doing the things he's doing. People know that Anna shouldn't be so ahead of it. People know that Anna is the one that should be putting a stop to it. And the fact that she as a mother is failing to do that and is actually enabling him to do what he's doing makes the gravity of of this whole situation so much worse. You know, I feel like she's the one that people are more angry with right now. If she's not doing anything to put a stop to what Johnathan is doing. Johnathan is doing all of these things that he's doing, and she's just letting it happen. And people are wanting to know why. People want to know. All people want to know is why she's letting this happen. People want answers for why she's allowing Johnathan to do the things that he's doing and not actually and is not actually addressing them, which is what she needs to be doing. She needs to be addressing the fact that he's using these thumbnails. She needs to be addressing the fact that Alessia was never dressed appropriately in any of the videos, which again was the problem. My only issue with yesterday's YouTube short was the fact that it didn't feel like Alessia was dressed very appropriately for that video. And I think at the end of the day, there was a reason why she's not. I remember going back, I think it was like last year, the year before, there were so many videos that Johnathan uploaded where Edie was always wearing crop tops and things like that. And now you're seeing the same exact thing with Alessia, where she's never dressed appropriately in videos that Johnathan puts out there on his channel. And it's not hard to see why. It's not hard to see why he always has Alessia dressed so inappropriately in the videos. It's because he knows that hate is towards a certain audience. He knows what he's doing. When he's showing his kids like that in bra tops, crop tops, things like that, he knows what he's doing. When he's using these thumbnails where the kids have their mouths and their legs wide open, he knows what he's doing. You know, he's not fucking stupid. He knows exactly what he is doing or what he is trying to do, and everyone knows what he's trying to do. So many people have opened their eyes and have started to wake up and realize what he's doing, how bad it is. Because what he is doing is very, very bad. You know, there's nothing good or positive to really say about what he's actually doing. The thing is with Johnathan, it's sad because when you go back and there were so many things that he said he would never do, and it seems like he's changed his mind and is doing so many of those things that he said he would never do, and it's like it is quite sad, you know. I mean, I honestly don't know what to say, at this point. I really don't, but I'm glad that, as I said, I'm glad that that his name is being dragged through the mud, and the things that he's doing are starting to get attention. Albeit not positive attention. They shouldn't be getting any positive attention. You know, the thing is, we all know that he's catering for a certain audience. We all know who he's trying to, who his target audience is. We've known that, that's been very clear to see for a very long time now. I mean, it's like, obviously, I used to slate him so badly for the fact that he focused so heavily on Edie being trans, but then they've kind of sort of gone and moved on from the whole Edie trans stuff, and then now he's now choosing to expose his to child to pedos and child predators. He knows he's fully aware of the dangers that he's exposing and subjecting his history. He just doesn't care. You know, it's like, you look at a lot of the videos, right? It's not like he even used the argument that videos were related to gymnastics and things like that. He's uploaded so many videos that had no relations to gymnastics or anything like that, yet he still has Alessia in the thumbnails doing the splits. It's like, why did he need to have Alessia in the thumbnails doing the splits when the videos that he was uploading, when the videos he's uploaded to his channel have nothing to do with gymnastics whatsoever? Please explain that to me. Please explain to me why he has Alessia in the thumbnails with her mouths and legs doing the splits in videos that are not even related to gymnastics or anything. That to me raises some pretty serious red flags. And I know that the authorities probably wouldn't give a shit if you reported him today, if you reported what he's doing today, and they probably wouldn't care. There's no point reporting what he's doing to YouTube, as they don't give a shit. The problem with these social media platforms is they don't care about child safety. These social media platforms only care about making money. That's the only thing that any of these public social media platforms care about. None of these public social media platforms care about child safety. And my viewpoint on it is they need to be held at these public social media platforms should absolutely be held accountable for the fact that for their failures to keep it safe. 110%. I give my thoughts on that. And I will keep doing these videos. People are not going to stop calling him out. People are not going to stop having a go at Anna until she actually finally decides to address the situation, address the thumbnails, address everything else that her pervert and child predator of a husband is doing. Now, when she finally starts addressing the things that need to be addressed instead of ignoring them, maybe people will back off. Maybe people will stop giving her such a hard time. That's the only reason people are actually giving Anna such a hard time, is that she's not doing fuck all to stop Johnathan from doing what he's doing. She as a mother should actually be putting a stop to it, and she's not doing that at all. And you've got to ask questions as to why she's not putting a stop to it, why she's letting this happen. I think anybody in their right fucking mind would question that. I don't think anybody is doing anything wrong by questioning why Anna doesn't have an issue with this. People have every fucking right to question that. I'll say it here and I'll say it time and time again. People have every right to question the fact that she doesn't have a problem with what he's doing. That is the weirdest and most bizarre thing about all of this, is the fact that she doesn't have a problem with what he's doing. I mean, yeah, what he's doing is bad enough. But the fact that she doesn't have a problem with it really makes the gravity of the situation so much worse. It goes without saying. It really does. I'm not going to apologise for saying that, because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to say that I don't feel like I'm being harsh. We all know that Johnathan Joly is a fucking sicko, and that's been very clear to see for a very long time. They can try denying it all they want, but we all know he can try denying it all he wants, but we all know he's a fucking sicko. That ain't never gonna change. That ain't never gonna change. He knows what he's doing. He knows how wrong it is. He just doesn't give a shit. Simple as that. It's been a long time since he's given a shit. Since they've given a fucking damn about child safety. It's been a long time since child safety was ever a fucking priority for them. Jesus Christ, man. When are they actually going to start prioritising the things they need to prioritise, child safety being one of those things? I mean, I'm not trying to cause an argument here, I'm just saying that they need to start prioritising the things that should be prioritised, aka child safety, for one. What they're doing is fucking stupid. So fucking stupid and beyond unbelievable. Don't come at me for saying I'm being too harsh. The guy's a fucking pedo. Simple as that. He's been a pedo. We've all known that for a very long time. I hope you've enjoyed this video anyway, and I will see you for another one, probably in a few hours. I have done a video tonight, talking about Manchester United's big Europa League win last night. I'll see you for that one tomorrow. I'll see you for that one in a couple of hours. That will be uploaded once I've had my dinner. I'll see you for another one. I'll see you for the next video soon. Bye bye.